Back in 2021, the United Nations tweeted that for only $6 billion, billionaires could fight world hunger. And in November 2025, the number for ending world hunger was, and I quote, only $93 billion annually for 4 years. That is more money than you and I could ever dream of. But there is one man who could possibly afford it. This is Elon Musk. You might have heard of him. He recently became a trillionaire, and with that, the wealthiest man to ever walk the earth. A branch of the United Nations called the World Food Programme came out November 21st, 2025 and claimed it would cost only $93 billion a year to eliminate world hunger by 2030. This adds up to $372 billion over the course of 4 years. This is a big ask from the United Nations, so naturally they must have an actual plan to back this up. So I went looking, and to my surprise, nothing. Nada. Absolutely zilts. And organizations such as the United Nations wouldn't just throw out a number for fun, right? Maybe they forgot to publish the plan. Or did they just throw out a number so big, knowing they'll never actually reach that goal, just to put pressure on the wealthiest among us? I want to know the truth, so I sent them an email asking how they plan on spending $93 billion a year, and how did they actually reach that specific number. We'll get back to that a bit later in the video. Since the United Nations and World Food Programme haven't actually put a detailed plan for the $93 billion out in the world yet, let's look at how the UN's donations have been spent when it comes to world hunger up until now. It's a bit rough, but it seems to be spent in 3 main categories. 1. The World Food Programme for emergency food and just money for food for poor people. This is by far the largest piece, at about 75 to 80% of the funding in the last 5+ years. The second is the Food and Agricultural Organization, the FAO. This is an organization that goes in to help teach and develop farms so people can grow their own food and then eat for life. They end up with only about 15%. And the third is the International Fund for Agricultural Development, the IFAD. This organization functions sort of like a bank, lending out money for necessary infrastructure and road in developing countries, and they receive only 5 to 10% of the funding, which is ridiculous. If you're anything like me, you can quickly see that doing it this way will not end world hunger. Increasing the FAO and IFAD's funding will be crucial to reaching the United Nations goal of zero hunger. The reason this is the way the money is allocated has to do with the way donations work. When you make a donation, you donate directly to the specific organization whose work you want to support. And for a majority of people, that is the World Food Programme. Because for a fairly small amount of money, you can ensure a child can eat for the next few weeks, months, or even a year. And this is very important work, of course, but it's also very short term. It makes me think of the saying, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. So, Elon Musk, trillionaire. Is it right to expect him to pay the bill? Maybe not. But then, should there be an actual cap as to how much money one person can have? Maybe. As the wealth gap in the world keeps increasing at the current rate, maybe it is right to expect Elon and the rest of the billionaires to spend big on making a difference, even if there's no plan or proof it will work. I sent both the United Nations and World Food Programme this email asking how they ended up at $93 billion. How did they calculate it? And how would it be spent each year between the 3 organizations? And I gave them 2 full weeks to answer. They never got back to me. I even waited an extra week just in case they were late. Asking for almost $400 billion with no plan. Nothing to back up their claims. Do they know the number is wrong? This seems to be extremely irresponsible from an organization such as the United Nations. In school, you learn to prove your answers. If you just write down the answer without showing how you calculated it, you get an F, because you probably looked at the back of the book. The United Nations don't have a book with the answer to this question, so they probably just made it up. If not, prove it. United Nations, we expect more from you.